Good morning, Colorado. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Local Biz Buzz. I'm your host, Larry Hers, and today in studio I have Zach from Rebel Bread.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we haven't had a bakery in here like bread in a long time, and it smells good. And like he was telling us what some of these are, and we're all like, oh, we want to eat that, we want to eat that, we want to eat that. All right, before we start eating, give me a little history of you and your bread company.
Yeah, thanks so much. My name's Zach Martinucci. I'm the founder and owner of Rebel Bread.
You said you're Jewish.
I'm Jewish Italian. Yeah, and that comes across in a lot of what we make and what I enjoy. Is it you too?
No, but I'm a New York Jew, so
Nice.
It's basically the same thing. I'm half Italian.
Why you were drawn to the bagel?
Yeah.
So I grew up near San Francisco, and a family that loved to cook and eat. Went on to study culinary anthropology and loved food culture, and wanted to work in the industry, and had learned to bake from a family member, and then went to bread school in San Francisco, and moved to Denver shortly after, where in 2018 I opened Rebel Bread to combine my passions for bringing artisanal bread and pastry day to day to Denver, and also sharing some of the culture and stories and education behind it.
So what was like the first bread you started making?
Sourdough.
Okay.
Yep.
So did you have a starter?
Yep, I had a sourdough starter. I learned with the cast iron with the starter, like so many people in quarantine learned to bake.
Uh-huh.
And then I started baking flavored loaves based off my friends' personalities, and decided
All right,
that there
elaborate on that. Personality and bread?
Well, as the anthropologist, I really loved that bread was this way to tell stories, and it was the medium I wanted to try out. So I learned to bake more to see what we could do with bread, and that's inspired a lot of the flavors and the ways we're involved in the community and what we can do with our bakery.
I'm not an expert on bread at all, but I know people always talk about how old their starter is. Does that matter?
No, and that's kind of a controversial answer. How you take care of it has so much more to do with the flavor and how it behaves than like its heritage or history or anything. But people love the story, and if that's what makes baking valuable to you, then you should totally cherish that starter.
Because people are like, I came from San Francisco, and this starter I brought with me, I drove it across country, and it's a 100-year-old starter. Yeah. And that's why my bread is what it is.
Our starter is named Paige, and we've had her for over a year now, but we have made a couple starters over the course of the bakery. Things have happened to the past starters, and we've just started from scratch.
Let's jump into all this because I don't want to miss any of it.
Of course.
And then we'll talk about where people can get all these yummy treats. So over here we got
an almond bear claw, which is croissant dough with some frangipane inside. Frangipane's like a light almond pastry cream. It's one of the things I want to be embalmed in. It's really, really delicious if you like almond. And then next to it is a morning bun, croissant dough rolled up with cinnamon sugar, brown sugar, orange zest, and then tossed in sugar as well.
Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. I'll be having a bite of that.
Yeah, on our next pastry plate, there's a Cachua Pepe croissant there.
Which I never heard of. Did you? You had to invent that.
One of our bakers did.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm saying
we saw it on Instagram and wanted to try our version.
Okay.
But it's our take on that classic Roman like mac and cheese pasta dish. So there's black pepper laminated inside the dough, Parmesan cheese on top. So it's still really light, but it's a really savory, peppery croissant.
I just had a Cachua Pepe pizza.
Nice.
Yeah, it works as a pizza for sure.
Yeah, next to it is a fruit croissant square. We use a classic Danish like cream cheese filling. That one has some raspberry jam that we make. And then next to it's a twice-baked blueberry almond croissant. People really love twice bakes. It's that crispy, chewy croissant with more frangipane, and we make a homemade blueberry almond compote as well.
You're a madman.
And this is about a third to half of our pastry menu. We have a wider menu that we do each week, and we also feature specials every weekend at our farmers markets.
Okay, we'll get into the farmers markets and all the flavors in a second. Bread. What is this guy?
That's a really special loaf. That's called the Nonna G, which was named after my Nonna Gloria, and who was my culinary idol and role model and the Italian grandmother I aspired to be one day. And when she passed 5 years ago, I immediately made that loaf in her memory and to remember some of her flavors and stories. It's sourdough with whole chunks of roasted garlic, fresh rosemary, fresh sage, olive oil, salt, and pepper. So it's meant to taste like her Sunday roast, which is a recipe we all loved. And my favorite part is when we bake it, or if you toast it at home, it smells like she's cooking in the kitchen with you.
This reminds me of, I don't know if you can take this as a compliment or an insult, but I'm going to say it anyway. La Brea.
Sure.
It's a compliment.
Of course.
And I'm like, I hope he's not offended.
I'm glad you like it.
They do a rosemary that I've had. Remind me just of it.
So
La Brea is one of the best bakeries in this country, right?
Yeah.
Fair to say?
And that's our classic sourdough. It's the bread we've been making from day one. Again, it's all naturally leavened, which gives it this great, like, mild tang. It's a San Francisco style. And the starter also makes it a little bit more digestible, we like to say.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really great, crispy, chewy loaf of bread.
Can you pick that up on the mics? You know what I'm saving for last.
The challah.
Challah!
So you pointed out that challah is traditionally braided. It's this
Yeah.
Jewish egg bread that we see braided for ceremonies. And we do make that style. We'll be making round halot for Rosh Hashanah, for example. But we found that a lot of our customers really love making great French toast with it. So we started making it in this loaf shape. So it's great French toast. It's a BLT. It's a PB&J. It's just like a soft, fluffy, lightly sweet
I'm making an egg
bread.
sandwich out of it.
Yeah, that's one of our favorite daily
Bacon,
breads
egg,
as
and
well.
cheese on this bread.
And I love an excuse to eat challah every day as opposed to just on Fridays or
Yeah.
just on holidays. So we love that about that.
Yeah.
Now you've got a chocolate ciabatta.
I have to smell his bread. I'm sorry.
It's a signature ciabatta dough, but it's not. We haven't sweetened it. It has cocoa powder inside. So if you tear it open, it's marbled. It has this cocoa powder swirl to it.
Can I tear it?
Yeah, please. And it also has dark chocolate chunks. So you'll get bites of chocolate where you'll get some sweetness, but we eat it sweet and savory. I like to make roast beef sandwiches with it. That's my favorite.
That's crazy talk.
Good on a charcuterie board, good with soup.
So last night I ate at the Chocolate Lab, you know,
Yeah,
the restaurant?
sure.
Where they put chocolate in everything. They should serve this bread.
Glad you think so. Yeah, we make that right now just in limited quantities for farmers markets and for our bread club.
Oh, he's still gonna. Nobody. The good thing is the camera's not over there. I just threw a piece to Josh.
That's a staff favorite for sure, too. I hope you like that.
It's not often he begs for food in the middle of the show. It tells you how good this looks. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a little bite of this too. I don't eat
Oh, I'm
during the
so
show,
glad.
but
I'm glad you like that. Yeah, that's a really fun loaf.
the possibilities are endless.
We
You
love
could do
when
with that
people get
too.
to try that. And you want that bagel?
You know I want the bagel.
This is a family-style bagel. It's 4 times the size of a regular bagel. It's like the size of your head. And we made it that way so you can cut it open, make a giant bagel sandwich, bring it to a brunch, share it with people. It's also made of baguette dough, and the bigger shape helps it stay fresher longer. So you could just like slice it into crostini and no one would know. It's just a good, slightly crispy, chewy loaf of bread. And that one's got everything, bagel spice on top, of course, which I know you love. And we love with everything as well.
Everything has become a huge thing over the last few years.
Yeah.
I actually just recently had everything chicken wings.
Did you really?
Why not? Why can't you put on chicken wings? It was delicious. Here's the big question. Where can people buy your bread and pastries?
Yeah. Saturdays, we have a little retail counter at our kitchen just south of the Baker neighborhood. Saturdays, we're at the City Park
Give 'em
Farmers
the address
Market.
of it.
Yeah, it's 675 South Broadway.
Right.
And it's on Google Maps.
And what times on Saturdays?
8 a.m. to noon on Saturdays.
Okay.
Those are our summer hours, so just that short window. But we're also every Saturday at the City Park Farmers Market, every Sunday at South Pearl.
Okay.
We sell Delivers Locavore throughout the week, a number of CSA programs, and you can order through our bread club as well.
Yeah, let's
We
talk about
offer-
Bread Club. That's a really brilliant idea.
Yeah, so this was a pandemic pivot that we made to get bread to people's homes, March of 2020, and it became a subscription product and now lives on its own website. You can go to getbreadclub.com and you can build your own box of breads and pastries based on our rotating menu that month. And you can subscribe to have it delivered or picked up weekly, every other week, whatever works for you, whenever you want to order.
And is it one price or you build it for whatever price you want?
You pay for the box. So like a box with 2 loaves and 4 pastries costs a certain amount, and then you get to go in and pick the actual loaves and pastries that come in that box.
Ballpark? How much are we looking at?
Yeah, we're looking at $15 to $25.
Okay.
Yep, plus
Is
a
it-
few dollars more for delivery if
Sure.
you live in Denver, or we
Makes
offer
sense.
pickup to anyone, again, at that 675 South Broadway location. And starting in September, we're going to be offering, we'll be partnering with some other local bakeries. So you'll be able to get Rebel bread and pastries, as well as Moon Raccoon Pastries, Sugar Bake Shop, and hopefully some other bakeries we're talking to, so that you'll get the chance through this website to put together your own order and support some small businesses and try some baked goods that hopefully you haven't seen before.
I love that idea.
Thanks. We're really excited for it.
Logistically, I don't know how you're going to do it. How you're going to pull from all those bakeries
Yeah.
and get them into one box and deliver, but you'll figure it out.
Well, we've learned to do it over the pandemic, so we wanted to offer that operation we've started to support some other bakeries too.
Awesome. What was the website again?
Getbreadclub.com.
Okay, and what's your website?
Rebelbread.com.
Well, that's
Yep.
pretty easy.
And we love to be bread friends. We're on all the social medias as Rebel Bread Denver. I love to see what people make with our breads. Yeah, love to see what people do.
I mean, I could totally see myself making like, so the Larry sandwich is turkey, bacon, coleslaw, Thousand Island, and jack cheese on a bagel. And so I would put that on this bagel. I don't think I'd eat the whole thing. I might split it with Josh.
But you'd make the whole thing, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'd make the whole thing for sure. And I'd put it on Instagram for sure because
Nice.
it would be beautiful. Anything else before we go? Do you got anything?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love to meet you at a farmer's market or at our counter. Thank you so much for having us this
I'm
morning.
just going to go right for it. What do you want me to do? Now you know why we hate each other. We'll be back at What's for Lunch today. We have Capital City Wraps coming in. It's a food truck. We'll see you at 11:30. Let's eat.
Good.
You said it doesn't taste like a bagel.
You still get it?
That's a bagel.
Bagel?